I think we need new chairs.
I'd like to do like a desk setup.
That would be nice.
Like
across from each other?
We could do that.
Side by side?
Well, I don't know if I want to do side by side. I think definitely like maybe in an L. So it's more angled like that.
I don't really, I mean, the
quite
chairs
inviting.
in theory seem cool because you're just like lounging, but it's like hard. I don't know. I feel like this is in the way and they're not the most comfy chairs.
What bothers me about the chairs is probably not even that. I think they're fine. I just feel weird having a camera like right there and I'm lounging like this. I feel like if the camera's there, I need to be more like upright, maybe behind a desk.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I just feel like when Jeremiah and I did a podcast or do a podcast, we stand.
Yeah.
We stand the whole time because I think there's like a little bit more energy behind it. Do I feel low energy?
You kind of do today.
Am I low T?
You're so T.
I'm low T, am I?
You're not woke and dope today.
Woke and dope. No, I am actually fine. I feel like the last 2 weeks, maybe 3, have been like the healthiest work-wise related for me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'm not. Do you notice it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, because you start at work at 10. Well, no, you start earlier than that because you wake up early.
I wake up
but
at 6,
like your building day starts at 10 and you like 3 sharp, you're done.
Oh, now you're talking about it.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
The last
Versus before was
a couple weeks.
Before it was.
Is this week 2 for you now or 3?
This is 3. 2. No, it's 2 official of work because the last project was a week long.
Yeah. Week 2 of having somebody.
Yeah, not somebody. You say his name. Okay.
Kyle.
That angel, that heaven sent angel, Kyle, who's running and gunning the camera, who's doing the editing,
all the things for you.
He is.
He's your new wife.
Listen, he's heaven sent.
Are you saying I'm not?
Well, you are. You are, but you're not editing.
No, no, that's not what you're implying.
You're heaven adjacent.
You're heaven sent from heaven,
yeah.
But whatever's next to it,
heaven adjacent. It's still equally high, right?
Just not as.
But maybe there's like
perfect.
like the side yard of heaven. You know what I mean? Like you're not downtown heaven. You're more of like the outskirts of heaven.
Oh, like
suburbia.
Suburbia.
Yeah, you're heaven suburbia, which is still nice, right? It's still nice.
It's not where everybody wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
You dug yourself into a hole.
Well, listen,
you can't. Okay. Nope, you can't get yourself out of it.
Here's how I'll back it up.
You're digging.
Well, and I'm okay to continue digging, but I want to at least justify why I'm digging. We both know that content is my job.
Yeah.
And you like this job, and so do I, right? We don't want me.
Not to have this job.
Because you know that working at the hospital was worse of a job because of the sacrifices and the
everything, all of it. Yeah.
And so one can only do this job long enough before you kind of get too burnt out from this job. And so a person like Kyle comes in, who obviously I've been running.
Makes your life easier.
Oh my goodness.
And I just make your life harder.
Have I? No, I wouldn't say you make it harder. You've been actually really helpful. In fact, after I started this whole like new scale this whole thing up, I feel like you've had a really great attitude of helping me out. Remember how I used to tease you about the sour face that you would give me?
You know what I realized? It's because I'm actually doing things I like to be doing.
It has
I don't
nothing
mind.
to do with the fact that I'm paying you money. Is this your acceptance speech? I just do what I love.
Not at all.
And I love what I do.
Yeah.
And
just you know when you're good at something that you do, you just love it.
They say if you do something that you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. Is this? No, you've been paid.
But also, I
handsomely,
really just don't like. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I really don't like writing blog posts. I really don't. I think
do you think that was the only thing that
I think even if you paid me, I'd still would maybe have a sour face.
Sour face. Do you think
in my head?
Do you think even like the rest? Because here's why I think you're wrong. And not that I say that. Like I mean, I get about the blog post, but okay. So I'd have you. I've noticed, like before, I would ask you to go to the store to get something for me. Like prime example, I asked you to go pick up a box of 1.25 inch pocket hole screws, which are very specific things, right?
Right.
And I gave you instructions where to go, and you never asked you never. Well, I mean, you kind of asked like, where is it, and send me a picture. But you had like the best attitude about it. You were like, okay, so you need him. Okay, Okay, well, Harper's sleeping right now. Okay, I think she's gonna be waking up here, and then I'll grab her and I'll go. And you just kind of figured it out, and you had a great attitude about it. And so, I almost think this is a theory of mine. I almost think that when you saw that there's now like recording hours and it's like a production that's going on,
I think so.
You,
it's like
you
a little
almost
bit
make
of
it feel like you're okay. Well, I'm not gonna interrupt this workflow that's clearly, because before, if it's just me, you're like, just pause the camera and resume it again, right?
Well, and if it was just you wouldn't even ask me, because you could just go.
I could just
but
go,
now you
for sure.
can't. And I think it is that. It's like, I know that like you have a specific set time where you have to complete whatever project or whatever you have like have in mind for that day, right? And so if you have to stop that, go to the store and come back, like that eats out of your day. You know, and Kyle.
Well, now he's affected by it too, right? Because then he's like, okay, well, I'm just standing here.
Right, exactly. So it's like I want to be able to help, and like I just know, it's like a whole. You're right. It's like a whole production now versus before it was just you.
Yeah, I will say it was really, and there's been multiple things. Like I've sent you to a few different things, and it's been really nice. Like I feel like you've been very helpful, and it's
you're welcome.
You know, so hey, shout out to you. But at the same time,
shout out to Mr. Bellet's wife.
Yeah. But I also will say that I feel healthy because I now have we spoken about this on the podcast?
I don't think so.
I feel like I have a hard stop now. And there's so many.
So let's back it up. I guess we kind of started, but a few weeks ago you decided. So you've had an editor, Kyle, do your editing for like 6 months,
6
maybe.
Months, yes.
Since like
and before that, it was
a little
all
bit
me.
before Harper was born, and before that, you did everything yourself.
And if we back it up even more, I've had editors on 2 different occasions that I've tried.
Yes, you've tried here and there, but like you just had your way of doing it, and you liked it a certain way, and nobody really matched like what you were doing. So
exactly.
It's just like you have to connect with somebody, and they have to,
absolutely,
in any field. But
that's the hardest part, and I think this applies to business in every aspect. Like when you think about hiring help, and you need to hire help, right? It's just, you can't just do all these jobs by yourself. There's nothing worse. You get in the first person and they don't know what you are looking for, and so you pay them, they get the job done, but it's not exactly what you wanted, and you're like, and so
you end up doing it yourself anyway.
You end up putting so many more hours into it, and so that was like my very first editor. Like we tried it, and then I would like I would tweak a few things, and then we just weren't in a position to do this again, and so he I think took on classes and stuff like that, and then I did it myself, and it was like an extra solid. It was a lot of work, but it was like I kind of brought it down to like 2-3 days of editing, and then voiceover kind of stuff, and then I hired another guy, and what was frustrating is that he whatever he got me, like I gave him like rules of, not rules, but like a guideline, like just get me to this kind of length of video, and then here's what I'm looking for, and then he would get it to me, and then it wasn't at that length of video. It was like a few more minutes longer, which in the YouTube sphere it's a lot. Eternity.
Yeah.
And then I would catch myself spending another 4 hours cutting it even further down. Yeah. So I'm like, well,
so you're editing anyway on top of that.
Because the idea is like I want to work myself out of that job. Not to say I hate that job. I just I'm more productive
all
something else.
Yeah, and you're doing all these different jobs.
Yes.
Yourself.
Yes. And I like I said, I actually got to the point where I liked editing, the creative aspect of it, but it's just I didn't have a fast workflow, and it's silly to both build and edit and do merch and do blog posts and do Instagram and do product, you know what I mean? Like you're doing all these things, and though you can do them for a short period of time and not pay anybody, it's just a matter of time before you get burnt out from this job and you go, I don't want to do this anymore. And so then Kyle came about, and I think I've been like this. How do I put this? I've been waking up a few times in the middle of the night, not from an anxiety or panic attack, but because Harper would like wake up, or I don't sleep well, period. So like I'll maybe toss and turn, and then my mind starts working. I start thinking about why am I constantly stressed? Like, I promised myself not to take more than 2 projects a month, and here I'm doing 3 projects a month. Why am I? And then I kind of got to the point where I started realizing, like, I need to give these jobs away. From one motivation I had, it was that YouTube channel that our kids like to watch, the King of Random. And we both discovered not too long ago that he like passed away, a younger guy in his 30s.
The guy who started it, yep.
Yeah, in his 30s, family, wife and kids. Paragliding, something like that.
Something kind of accident, yeah.
But I don't know if you guys have ever seen King of Random. They do awesome, really cool experiments. It's kind of like Mythbuster meets, a lot of cool other stuff.
Yeah, just really fun, like sciencey kind of things.
Really well produced. And lo and behold, I found out that when he passed away, and I didn't follow him before, but I would see old clips and new clips. I'm like, I don't get it.
Like, we just thought it was all a bunch of
right, because there's this one guy,
yeah.
and then a few other episodes, it would be like this, like 2 other anchor person or
a
host
gal
people,
and a guy,
a guy and a guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, so who owns this thing? And then I realized, and I found out that he scaled it up in a way where he got editors, he got videographers, he's got, then he hired, I think his wife did it, or his whole team did. They hired on, the hosts for it. And
yeah, somebody else took over his channel.
And there's nothing cooler than
going.
building a business, whether it's content or a merch or a product that you're creating, where it doesn't depend on you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
you
best.
You want it to work.
Yeah.
Even when you're not there.
And so that was my epiphany.
Or if you retire,
that I had was that maybe I still kind of remember. I don't remember the exact date, but
it's
I still
like
remember the moment.
Ago, yeah.
3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks ago. No, it had to have been more than. It had to have been a month, because Kyle put in his 2-week notice from his job to come with me. So from the moment
probably
I asked him,
a little more than a month,
about a month. And I still remember I woke up and I was just like, couldn't sleep, and I was like, I'm just stressed out about work. I'm deadlines, and then I was like, okay, well, what about? And me, I'm not really, I don't blow money left and right, but I was just like, oh, but why pay somebody to do this if I could do it myself? So you're playing these games with yourself.
Yeah, you're going back and forth, because it's like you can save the money and do it yourself, but then it's like,
how long can you last?
How long can you last, and how much anxiety you're gonna have and stress on top of 3 kids, and doing a lot of other things, 2 podcasts, merch, like you said, all these other things. So it's like, and you have to be okay and kind of like allow yourself to go to that place of like, okay, what if I do hire somebody? And then that's how you started thinking about that, right? Like, okay, what if I do? And then what does that look like? And
well, that was that was the longest night I didn't sleep. I think it was like 4 hours, from like 2 to 6 or something like that. It was, the first is like, oh, I'm stressed out with work, so much work, how am I getting these deadlines? And then that was like the first like hour and a half of not sleeping. And then the rest of the time, then a little bit I was like wrestling, should I hire somebody, should I hire out the camera work or not? Should I do it or not? What should I do it, should I not? Well, it's expensive. And then it's like, the part that made me finally fall asleep is when I finally went, fine, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then there's a small part before I passed out and fell asleep was like,
should I do it? Oh, dang.
Can I sustain this? Can I sustain paying salary? What I mean?
All the fears start creeping back
just
in.
The natural fears. But I do remember when I finally made the decision. I remember of all the other scary decisions I've made, that kind of involved money, and I was nervous. I remember even my first car payment, like having my first. Because I never really had a car payment, and then I finally got a nicer truck, and I had a car payment, and I was like, "Oh, can I sustain this? Can I sustain it?"
Yeah.
And then you life goes on, and you're like, "Oh, well, no, everything worked out. Everything works out. Everything kind of falls into a system, And then before that, it was like, quitting my hospital job and going to getting paid once a month, and you go, "Oh, can I how long can I sustain?" And so like everything originally works out, and now I'm kind of like,
well, because you know what happens?
What?
And I remember we had this discussion when I quit my job. What happens when you take that leap, it makes you work that much harder,
of course,
to sustain it,
yes,
to be able to provide and make more money, so you don't have to go backwards,
yes,
to like finding a job again, like at the hospital, or like I did, or
yeah.
I knew if I quit, I had to each month like deliver or over deliver,
right?
And so I think that's what it is. And so you just know you got to work your ass off.
Right. But sometimes you're afraid of, you're like, but how? Like, what does it mean to work my ass off?
What else do I need to do to make more money?
So there's two, I was kind of thinking about this topic for a little bit, just here and there. The idea that what's scary like right now is not going to be scary later.
Yeah.
And I
know my territory.
My jiu-jitsu professor always says this, because whenever we fatigue out and when we're grappling with somebody, he always walks out and says, and he yells out, he goes, what's difficult today will be easy tomorrow. And he's applying the perspective of like, do hard things right now where you suck, and then in a later time period, if you keep doing it, you're going to get really good, and this part is going to be very easy for you, right?
I feel that way with running right now.
Prime example, right? Well, that was even before when we first started, right? Like, was, there was a time I couldn't run a mile without getting winded, right? And then next thing you know, you and I are doing a half marathon. And so that's like, so that was one of the lines that stuck in my mind was, what's difficult today will be easy tomorrow. And that's that fear. So what's scary today will not be scary tomorrow.
You can apply it to that. Yeah.
Right. And then what was the second thing? The second thing that kind of crossed my mind, I forgot if there was a saying or anything like that, but what kind of made me at peace is like, I'm hiring out, to like, this is a small price to pay for mental health. And what's really cool about Kyle is that we both came up with this system, because I'm all about productivity and like a schedule. And so I have a system, waking up, 6 a.m. till 8 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's computer work, it's emails, it's cup of coffee, right? So really there's like maybe an hour and a half time of computer stuff, because by the time coffee and you get, dressed and whatever. But then after that, it's like 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It's just like a workout period, like every day, like, and it doesn't have to be much, but it's a workout period every day. And then from like, that 8:45 to 9, it's drop off the kids. From 9 to 10, it's get supplies, right? And then from 10 to 3, we're in the garage recording.
Right.
He's here. He's always ready. He's always here a few minutes early. We go right into it. And
which is your love language.
Punctuality and schedules.
He comes 3 minutes early, and you are.
I think he was in the car waiting till like 7 minutes early, and
he's like, dang it.
And I was like, I wasn't gonna like. Usually I'm gonna be like, hey, come on in, and I no problem. But I was like making a cup of coffee, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make my cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Because I kind of remind myself there's a time for everything. And one of the things I struggle with a lot is being able to relax. Not because I deal with anxiety or stress. It's just I can't sit still.
You can't. Yeah.
And the thing that I hated my old schedule before is I would work in the garage, and I'd never had a hard stop except 5 o'clock. Because I would tell the boys, oh, we can do anything you want after 5 o'clock.
But then sometimes you don't even have to go back and finish something up because you were behind.
Yes, and I'll be like, hey, can you take the boys to jiu-jitsu tonight?
Yes, I have to finish up,
And that made me more stressed about my life.
Yeah, because you felt like you were always behind, right?
I'm always behind, and I'm saying no to my kids, and we have this rule, and I'm breaking my rule. Like, me breaking rules is always bad for me. Like, I'm not happy with myself. And so what's cool with Kyle is that 3 o'clock is a hard stop. And it's and I'm sure he loves it too, but for me it's important. Like today I was sanding, and he got out all his footage for sanding and all the cool B-roll stuff, but there was like 2 more boards that needed to get sanded. Now I could get them done today, and tomorrow will be a brand new step we go on to start recording and getting footage. But to me I was like, no. Mentally I told myself, I was like, no, dude, nope, you can sand this tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's hard for you, to be like, I cannot do it. I could just let this go until tomorrow. And I can imagine, because you're the type of person, like, if you say you need to finish this, or like, there's this one piece.
We'll burn the candle on both ends. Yeah. And it's so cool because
you kind of have to force yourself to do it.
Kind of, but it's almost a kind of
like. You feel good.
At ease, right? You're like, how like, okay, this is a prime example because I wrestled this today. How you and I are trying to eat really clean like this week. And just this week.
Wait, don't show anybody this.
It's just a sparkling water thing. Though. Oh, just the fact that it has sugar in it.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I this morning after I ate breakfast, I made myself a cup of coffee, and there was just like that sweet pastry thing that my mom brought over. The crunchy waffle-y
Oh
thing.
Yeah, those are so good.
So good. And I was like, well, I'll have one for the day, kind of thing. And I opened it, got my black cup of coffee, really hot, and I take a bite, and I was like, oh, it's so good. And I get my first sip, and then I remembered, you're going to be more dissatisfied with yourself. And so if you continue eating this thing right now, as opposed to, what this week is done. And I threw it away, and I was so much more happy with myself. And that was the same conversation that I was having with myself, like every day that he leaves at 3, when I was like, oh, I can get ahead of the thing. And I go, no, you're going to be far more dissatisfied with yourself by doing this.
And not ending, because then you get into this routine of, if you keep ending right at 3, no matter what you're doing, it becomes this habit and this routine that you're like, oh no, whatever, I'm dropping whatever I'm doing because it's 3 o'clock.
And it kind of is like that. It's like I'm dropping it. And before I was like, no, it's like, no, I'm dropping. The most I'll do is spend 10 minutes cleaning up. Like, but and it's I never thought I would feel that way, and it's great.
That's a good, I feel like that's a great system, because now you can like, either pick up the kids from school,
Yes.
or I can, and then you take them to jiu-jitsu, and it's like you're not missing those like moments with our kids.
Yes, and those moments are the biggest
because they
ones.
come home from school at 4 and then they go to bed at 8, so it's like you get 4 hours.
Yeah, and it's those moments that I feel like I really feel the weight of that stress is when you go, well, cool, I have a dirt bike and my kids have dirt bikes and we have a vacation property to escape to and all this stuff. But then you go, but I don't have time to do those things.
Yeah.
Like,
because you're working
that
so much.
sucks.
Right.
And so by having these rules and these hard stops, it really kind of makes you start appreciating like the life that you've already set up for yourself, you know,
and being able to enjoy it.
Yeah. 100%. Like,
because it's like, what are you working for then if you're just constantly working? Correct. And not being able to spend time with your family and go, you know, to McCall and just hang out and spend 5 days, you know, taking walks and, you know, sledding with the kids. Like, what are you working towards if you can't even hang out with your family? And
I used to always think, when I heard people say those kind of things, like, you know, you're going to work yourself into the grave, and what happens when, you know, because I will say kids are only little for this long, it's blink of an eye, they'll be gone, kind of thing. And I always thought it's an exchange. Like, what's the point of all this money if you don't have time spending it? Like, you don't have time for your family. I always thought it's just an exchange that you do. Like, do you want to have money or do you want to have time with your kids?
Okay, so it's one or the other,
But then I realized it's not necessarily you have to pick one or the other. You can have both, as long as
scale it in a way.
You put the right people in place to do that for you. Like, when we took a week off and went to the cabin, this Thanksgiving, which was a lot of fun. You know, and I still brought a laptop, and I still did maybe like an
just
hour
a little bit
here and there,
very
light stuff, like for like thumbnail stuff or some, and we were still making money. You know what I mean? Like, because there's, you know, Kyle had stuff that he was working on, other things we were working on. You know what I mean? Like, the merch guy was taking care of the new merch that was coming in, and so it was like, you can set up a machine to do it for you. Now, it may be not providing you money at a certain pace that you're looking at if you were to do it yourself, but it's still. Like Ben, I kind of learned from him, is like, you're still growing at a certain percentage. It's not maybe the percentage you're hoping for,
right?
But 1 or 2% is greater than zero, right? You know, versus before you're like, oh, I'm going at 30 to 40%. So it's like, you got to look at it in those kind of perspectives, that it's not, you're not sacrificing everything out and giving up on it. You're still letting the beast grow.
It's crazy though, because obviously you're spending, you know, a lot of money to pay and like have this person working for you.
Sure.
But like, when you told me, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, like, it was weird, because like no part of me was like, oh, you shouldn't do this. It was like, oh yeah, you should do this.
You're not known for that though. You're not known for saying no to me, like on risks or big things.
Well, because you don't do it often. I feel like there's never been a time where I was like, you shouldn't do that. Like, even with the hospital, like, you didn't just start Mr. Build It and quit your job.
Flip
you were like,
off. second Mrs. Jackson in room 403.
But like, you started Mr. Build It, you were still working full time, and then when you saw growth, you were like, okay, how about cut it down to part time? You know, right? So it was this like slow. So it was never like this. It never felt like this risk that we're like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do with, you know, how are we gonna support our family? It was more like, okay, I want this to grow, and so I'm going to take my time from this job and put it into this job. So that's why I always felt like you're doing the same thing here. You're like, I am depleting myself because I'm working so hard. So how do I make it so I have more time for you guys?
Yeah. You're also, and I guess also the reason why, like I said, I'm surprised that like you never really said no to me for taking these risks, is that you've also kind of like, I think I created a monster out of you, where we've had conversations about, you know, because when you started, when we started your business, there's a lot of risks that we took as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's, I guess, from these conversations,
there's a lot more investment.
From these conversations that you and I had, I remember we got to the point where you're almost thinking about selling our house to take the money and invest. Remember that we were trying to do the barn event center?
Oh yeah.
And you're like, what if we sold our house?
I started having all these ideas,
and then bought this barn venue center, and I was like, what have I created?
Never created. I put too much confidence in you.
Right. And it's so that's why, to me, like, I don't think you've ever been like, hey, you should rethink that, or, let's not.
Yeah.
So
That's why, like, I feel like now even if I feel like it's a really crazy idea, I like to just bounce it off of you, so I like kind of know, you can gauge if I'm crazy or not.
Too crazy or not.
Yeah. So like, even with like the house stuff that we're trying to figure out, like, do we build a house? Do we buy a house, and remodel? I feel like I'm a much more. You're not gonna tell me I'm crazy, but you might just say like, oh, I don't think we can do that because of this reason. But I almost feel like I can tell you anything, all of my crazy ideas now, because you have created a monster.
Like, what if we take our skin off?
Yeah.
Right.
And you just peel it slowly. And then wear each other's faces.
Yeah. And I go, well, sometimes you gotta try it.
Yeah. Why not? Take a risk.
Yeah, we live it until you try it. Yeah. Cut my face, you cut your face, switch around, swap face. Got a new app, swap face.
Swap face.
Face swap.
Face swap. For reals, though.
For reals. Face swap. That's the name of the app. Face swap for realsies. No, yeah. I think life, in the mindset of the people that I look up to, that I've never met, obviously, but I'll watch them on social media or YouTube. They seem to be, especially older people, they take risks, and it seems like all of their success is all from risks. I don't know if I've met too many, and I wouldn't even say Mr. Billy, I would say was risky, but I would say the risk was so minimal because I did work my way out of my job.
You did.
I think a greater risk would have been like, hey, here I'm working full time, got benefits and all this stuff, to going, hey, don't have a job, and I got this online thing that I'm doing. That's a risk. I think I pushed myself out of a job.
But you still took that risk. You pushed yourself out of a job, but you still took that risk of fully quitting a job that had benefits to pursue.
And my license expired, so there's no going back.
Can't go back. It's expired. You'd have to retake the whole test.
Boards. I have to do my boards all over again.
Yeah.
But there's no part of me now like that I was scared, because when I was in the middle of doing it, I was like, people are like, are you going to keep your license active? And I was like, yeah, maybe, It's
like, why? Yeah.
And then now I'm like, I wouldn't touch that thing.
You're booked out to like March. You don't need to.
Yeah, no, it's wild. But, I think, I was going to say this, to the point of.
Do you have some wisdom?
Yeah.
You're going to drop some wisdom right now? You have like that look in your eyes like you're about to.
I wish I could get my chair higher than
like,
yours
give
right
me
now.
goosebumps.
Can you sit on the ground? Because I want to speak down. No,
Words of wisdom.
What was I going to say? You just ruined
Sorry.
it. No, it's okay. Well,
it will come to you.
It was going to solve world hunger.
I know. I saw it in your eyes.
The twinkle.
You had those that twinkle in your eyes.
Oh, here's what it is. And I've heard this from somebody else, is you have to keep, I think the most successful people have always just moved around. Not physically, but like you always have to keep moving. So like the best example I would give is, you can't just start a YouTube channel, get a good steady income from it, and be like, that's what I'm doing now. Like from that point on, you have to figure out how to diversify. Yeah,
you gotta pursue different avenues and broaden your like just one thing.
Yeah, like and I've seen other people who didn't have YouTube channels, but they did it with like businesses. They'll start a business, grow it up to scale it, and then sell it, and then take that money and then buy another business, grow it up to scale it.
That's like a really good entrepreneurial mindset.
Well, and I think that's what entrepreneurs are. I think they're just,
it's like the next thing.
They keep moving around.
Yeah, because if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
Oh, that's deep. And if you're not first, you're last.
And if you're last, you're not first. Ricky Bobby,
shake and bake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you just keep moving. Did you create something really cool and it blew up and it went viral? Awesome. Keep moving. Next thing, or not necessarily next thing, but like create another piece.
You're like viral. Trying to what I'm looking for?
Ride the wave.
Yeah, but like keep the momentum going.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. 100%. I think it's all momentum driven.
When you get like you blow up, like say your YouTube whatever video goes viral, like how do you keep that momentum?
Yes.
Say you get like your merch starts blowing up. Okay, how do you keep that momentum? Exactly. So it's like the next thing is just, so I feel like for you all was so organic, like the way it started with your channel and then your merch breaking off. And
now you got to make a disclaimer that it didn't happen because I started a YouTube channel. It all happened after I was already a few years deep.
Yes. No, not like initially. I mean like it happened organically as like time went on.
Yeah. The first, was it 16, 17, 18, 19? The first 3 years was like a slug moving across the road. It was so, so slow.
Yeah, you had a lot of mental battles in that 3
and
years.
a lot
And
of
we
them
talked
was
about
from
that.
reading,
Yeah. Comments.
negative comments
Yeah.
or just comments, period. But so you're seeing slow growth and you're seeing mean people, and that's like a combination for
Yes.
like
I know. Yeah, getting in your head.
discouragement, And I've had people DM me going, hey, I've started a YouTube channel before and it didn't go anywhere, so I kind of stopped working on it, and now I'm thinking about picking it back up again. What advice would you give me? And like, I'd look at their YouTube channel, like seeing where they are and where they were, and I'm like, hey bro, you have 7 videos up and you quit after 7 videos? Like,
Nobody's going to get that many followers after 7 videos.
I guarantee you could probably be very, very successful on YouTube as long as you never stop making YouTube videos. Just because you can obsess about it.
Yeah, and then it just takes that one to get you kind of on the
start learning.
map.
You'll start learning. Like, with
works.
me, I obsessed about like, keywords. I'm just one keyword away, and then you realize, well, keywords help, but they're not going to change
all
your
content.
life. It's like, okay, well, what is? So you just start kind of reverse engineering what you're doing.
Yeah,
Get frustrated.
What's working, what's not.
Exactly. What's working, what's not.
That's exactly what you did, and you
Yeah.
didn't give up. You're like, let's keep doing this. Let's keep doing this.
Like right now, and this is probably more of a prime conversation from when we had Benueta on the show here, and we were talking about the plateau of our growth, and he's like, all YouTubers experience this plateau. It's not that what you're doing is just sometimes it's maybe you're not as excited about it, but at the same time you're maybe not within that algorithm. But you have to figure out, instead of getting bummed out about it, you're like, okay, well, where can I change that extra 20% that I've had going to this while riding this plateau? Where could I, redirect that energy? And with him, he's starting like a liquor business and like a hotel and hospitality business, and and all this other stuff that he's like investing in, and he's part owner now of or investor in like a hairpin leg manufacturing company that's all U.S. made, and so it's like he keeps just moving.
Yeah.
He's not
the next
quitting.
thing I can do.
He's not jumping off of this thing. He's still feeding it, but he just keeps on moving. So do you have any kind of decisions or steps that you'll be planning on taking in 2021 as far as just keep on moving?
Yeah, I do. And I kind of talked to you a little bit about it. We were like on a date night or something. I don't know. I got this because I've been doing a little bit of like e-design here and there.
Well, do you think you should share it now, or do you think you should hold off before you launch
Do you want me to take it?
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
I think you should, just for the sake of excitement, I think you should. I don't know.
So I do. I have some fun things I'm working on, and different from what in the same realm, but like.
Yeah, don't say it. Just to be more exciting.
Yeah.
In the design
I guess
world.
it's a secret.
Well,
no. I'm hoping by like the beginning of the year, actually, I could launch some of the things I'm working on.
And this is big for me to hear this from you, because for the past 2 summers now, I think I've been kind of on your case about telling you that, because here's what happens with you. Your business, it like booms from.
I have waves.
Like February till like October, November-ish, right?
Right. And then I have this slow.
And then this,
which holidays in general, yeah.
Makes sense. And because the majority of your business that you do is with builders, right? Local builders, custom homes, and doing the
so right after,
and,
right before Thanksgiving and until like February, it's like this lull. And
so you have no interest or time, I guess the best
during that season.
During that time, because you're like, why am I going to do that if I'm seeing real money happening right now?
And it's so like quick. Like I go stage a house and I see that money coming right away. Yeah.
And you're not even waiting like with me. Like as content creators, we have like a net.
Yeah, you 30, guys wait like 60, 2 months. 90,
yeah, like depending the brand you work with.
Usually it's within a couple of weeks, and get
a paycheck, boom, cut. And so I've been on your case, going like, especially during these like slow seasons, where I'm like, listen, this is why right now you need to focus on the social media or online marketing game right now, so that it feeds you or your business on these off seasons. You know what I mean? And I think for the last couple of years you're like, yeah, I know, I totally need, but obviously
not doing anything about it.
And from this recent venture that you and I are starting, it was really cool to see you excited about it. First of all, you landed on this idea like as you were just talking to me.
It was crazy. I was just like talking. I was like, whoa, okay. And then I like kept going, and it felt so good.
Yeah, you had a drink or two, and you're like, and I told you about it. I was like, there's something about like if you get 1 or 2 drinks and you just get like just relax.
You just relax. That's what happens. You let your brain like kind of do its thing.
It just kind of, you start seeing things that you didn't see before, and you go, oh, well, listen, wait, why?
We were talking about the website, so I don't know if that's a secret too, but we're revamping. Mr. Build It and Co.
It doesn't. I don't think I've shared it yet, but we're revamping. We're revamping it for sure.
And we're just gonna have a lot of cool.
There'll be
features on it.
I'll be putting up plans of the builds that I do.
You'll be able to shop right from the website. And then we'll have a design actually tab where there'll be some cool things that you can look at and even purchase perhaps.
And what you have cooking is for that design section, I think is going to be huge for both of us, I think, because it's the best. First of all, there's going to be a lot of value driven to it. It's going to be very, it's going to be very sought after, I personally think. But it was cool to see you stumble upon that idea as we were just talking about random stuff, like this epiphany kind of hit you.
Yeah, which I feel like it felt really good because I feel like I've been kind of stuck in that the whole how to pursue like design or like e-design in that whole world, because it's just not, I don't know. It's a hard, like people don't want to pay you, but it's a lot of work. And so there's that like disconnect of like, I only want to pay you this amount of money because it's just e-design. You're just sending me like mood boards and, product lists. But like in reality, I spent like a lot of time working on that. And so to be able to kind of match that like disconnect of how much people want to pay and then, actually having design is going to be awesome. So I feel like that's enough of a little...
You're almost scaling it. That's what you're doing. You're scaling e-design.
Yeah. In a different way.
And what's interesting is you were part of because e-design is very recent, right?
In the last like couple of years.
Years. And
I mean that it went big. But even now I feel like it's not. It's kind of... It like hit this big... trend and then it's kind of working its way down again. I don't know if it's just not as popular because like I said, people don't want to pay.
Well, here's the thing. I think because you've worked with Wayfair.com and all that to do their e-design.
That's how we started.
That's how you started. And you were one of their top designers for a while in the beginning. And you just kind of saw that, like, listen, what you're compensating me is not a fair exchange.
How much work I'm doing,
like they're definitely getting the better end of the deal.
Oh yeah, and it's a lot of work.
And so what they were trying to do is they're trying to scale e-design to also market their website. And I think what you have cooking up has the ability to kind of blow them out of the water. And
I haven't really seen a lot of people do this, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's why I don't think you should.
Say anything.
Say anything. Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fun, and we're hoping to launch the website maybe like January 1 or by the end of the year.
Do you think it would be fair for me to create a goal for you to have this up and running, your thing up and running on the site by February?
Well, no, I want to have it up and running by January.
I
want, as long as I can. I have a couple projects I'm working on right now, so if I can finish those up fairly quickly, I want to have that. Hopefully, my goal is sometime January.
You got to do it before February for sure, because that's when your work is going to start taking off again. And I'm afraid you're going to put it in the back because you have the ability to create this thing. And then just like
I know. Well, that's why I want to do it now, because I have this like excitement about it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that and then be like, oh, it's whatever. It's just another thing. I don't want to do it.
Just keep drinking.
So I want to. No, I want to keep. Yeah, I want to keep that excitement. So I do want to do it right now, and I feel like I just have to figure out a way to work on it like maybe every day a little bit, and so I have it ready by when we launch. Like at least have a few things of it. It's hard to say without saying it. Ready by January. Yeah, I just want to have like some of it at least started, on the website, and then if I need to like add.
Well, you will add. I think you just need to.
I have to add.
Get the quota that we talked about. Yeah. Get that marker in there, and then.
But it'll be fun. I'm excited for the website too. I think this is all about continuing the conversation about scaling up, and that was the next thing
Yeah.
is we wanted a website that was like really easy to use,
More
fast loading.
yeah, more home and garden, more organized,
Yes.
more
And be able to shop
yeah,
your merch straight
more
from the
opportunities
website.
for. Well, yeah, there's a lot of things we want to do with
Yeah.
it, and yeah, we're just excited about it. I'm just glad that you found something that you could that keeps you moving, right?
Right.
You're not just still doing,
Yes.
though
Yeah.
you know you're crushing it in the staging world. Like it's
Yeah.
just something for you to just another avenue
Right.
of
Yeah.
diversifying.
Yeah. Figuring out, and yeah, it makes me excited to like, if this, you know, takes off or works, what's the next thing, you know, I can do. With staging, it's a little bit different because the way you scale up is you get people working for you, you get movers, you get a trailer like we did. And so, but at the same time, it's hard because I almost feel like I'm the same as you. I'm like, I can hire somebody to help me, but I can do this all myself in like a day. So is it really worth it to hire somebody?
Yeah.
But
it's gonna get old.
yeah,
It's
but
gonna
then
get
you
old.
get, it's the same thing. You like, there's been times where I come home crying because I'm so exhausted
Yes.
because I took it all upon myself without asking for help, thinking I could do it all, when in reality it was like, you know, 3 houses I had to do in like 3 days.
Yeah.
It was insane by myself. There's
Yeah.
like no way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
knowing that you can't sustain
Yeah.
this without sacrificing something.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a small price to
I
pay.
think,
You-
I think my next, I would love to have like, to scale up in a way where I have like a big warehouse or building versus just storage units, and figuring out how to,
That part makes me nervous, though, the warehouse storage, because I've seen some
or
of
maybe
your...
we have one on our property
Well, it's going to be a shop.
for you.
Right. I mean, do you really think we're going to get a 10,000 square foot building on top of the property?
No,
No.
I don't. We'll have to build one.
You know, you're going to have... We're going to have what, 2 shops? 2 warehouses. Yeah, no, I'm not so excited about, from the business perspective, of having like a big grand warehouse.
I mean, honestly, storage units aren't that expensive. It's like $100 a unit. It's not that bad.
Right.
But what if I, end up having like 10 of them? Then it's like, okay.
Sure, but then the idea of it is, if you have 10 full storage units, your furniture is not out making you money.
Exactly. And I don't want to.
That's the
be
fear,
there,
right?
yeah.
The fear is you're going to get a mortgage or a lease on a warehouse.
Yeah.
And then now you have to,
Yeah.
you have to feed this beast. You know, you can't afford to have a slow 3-month period in the wintertime. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to keep it rolling.
And next thing you know, you're not making money because you're paying at the yin yang for this place
Yeah.
that on a busy season,
It's great.
It's
Yeah.
it's housing maybe an eighth of your furniture, but on a slow season, it's just keeping your stuff
Which,
dry.
and yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely something like I would think about in the future if I did scale up in a way where I had a lot of workers, and then we had so many more houses, to
Sure.
do. But also in Boise, I feel like in the last couple of years, there have been so many new stagers. And so it's like also a booming business because so many of them are starting up, and there's a lot of great stagers in the area. So I think when I started, there was a lot of like regulars that have been there for a long time. And then I was like this kind of new
young pup
stager. Yeah. And so, but in the last, couple of year, it was like, there's so many popping up that I'm like, oh, everybody does a really good job. And
But
there's just, it's more saturated. So now it's
sure,
like,
but you shouldn't be ever intimidated by something like that, because
no, I'm not, but I'm just saying like, there's a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't feel like I have a less work, honestly. I had just as much a busy season, but it's just, there's a lot more stagers out there.
I mean, but the number of stagers is like saying there's so many more people starting YouTube channels.
YouTube, yeah.
It doesn't mean they're being successful. Now with YouTube, success is kind of driven by like obviously growth
Views.
and audience and subscribers. But success as a stager or even a business owner is the matter of like, we've read plenty of articles about or heard stories about stagers where they're starting a business. They got $100,000 loan out. They got a $20,000 moving truck. They got $80,000 in furniture. Cool, you're all set up. And they got a lease on a warehouse. Now they're fully operational. They got a cool logo. They're running and gunning. But it's like, okay, well, you're also making a $4,000 payment on your, or $3,000 payment on your,
Yeah. Are
on
you
your
making
business
even
loan.
that much? Yeah.
And what are you paying yourself? Right?
Nothing. Yeah.
And then obviously you're hungry for work because you got to keep fueling
Yeah.
this beast, and you're charging pennies on the dollar just to keep your people employed.
Yeah, and then you're not making any money.
And then when COVID
Yeah.
hit, like it did, we started seeing what kind of businesses failed. Like restaurants are a prime example, where they can't afford to sustain their lease and their business loan and
Right,
their employees
yeah. Because they're paying.
for 2 months, 3 months. They some couldn't. So that's a big thing to
Yeah.
look in, is to see, like, I could easily go and get a warehouse, and not a warehouse, but like a shop or something like that, and
yeah.
be like, okay, this is where I'm doing my operation. But it's like, well,
Is that the right decision?
is that the
Yeah.
right decision? The right decision would be hire
Yeah.
somebody to do one part of the work for me, so that I have time to do the other part of the work and scale that up. So
Yeah. It's like you have to take the risk, but it has to be such a calculated, well thought out risk. And so, like, yeah.
how would you say it's a calculated and well thought out risk?
So like you were just saying about the warehouse, like is like, I was just kind of, one day I would love to have that, just one big space putting my stuff, maybe have more stuff. But like right now, like you had just pointed out, like what about my slow seasons? Like do I want to be paying that big of a lease for the like 3 months where I'm a little bit slower and still have to pay that? Or would I rather just have some storage units and like be able to easily pay $400 a month for those? And so it's like, those are the kind of calculated risks where it's like, can this be sustaining or can it not?
Yeah.
If I work my butt off, can it sustain? But now I know, like, even if I work my butt off, I still am slow during the holidays, because that's just how it is. Nobody really buys and sells homes. Like we've seen, we haven't had a new listing pop up on my like MLS for like 3 weeks. It's been the same exact 3 houses, because everybody's just waiting. The holidays, busy. Yeah. Retail's the only thing that goes up.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to, think a lot harder and smarter about it.
Yeah. And fear is an interesting thing. Fear will keep you from scaling your business, and fear will also get you to scale your business. You know what I mean? Like, it'll do both. It'll do both.
I know, it's crazy. It can go either way. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be just really smart and really confident that you could do it before you take that risk. And sometimes you're not confident. I know that, like, there's been times where I'm like, can I do this? Can I not? But I think when you take the risk, when you literally have no other option, I think that's when it's like a calculated risk. Like when I had to quit my day job because staging was crazy, and I was like, I am like so busy with staging. Why am I even still working here? So this was it was like a risk, because that was like a steady,
and
income.
The busyness, you got to also point out for people, the busyness is not, hey, I've been busy for 2 years now, let's get out of there. Like, you're busy just for a few months, and then you're like, you almost did the calculation in your head and be like, okay, well, how much more can I do?
Yeah.
And that's not a lot of people who would say that's I think it was a calculated risk, right? But like, your job was very part-time in the beginning. Yes. You know what I mean? So,
and I think, that's another.
You saw the opportunity cost of, like, financially. You're like, well, I can make that same amount of money in a shorter period of time.
Yes.
Though I'm only basing this off of a 3-month stretch. Yes. Right.
So that's what the risk was right. Like, I've only done this for like 3 months. Can I keep doing it?
Correct.
And I felt really confident in myself and my decision, and so I took it.
Do you know it's one of the which I'm very proud of you for doing, but it's very one of the scariest business advice I heard somebody give that's very true, is that there's an opportunity for you to grow way too fast with your business. Yeah,
we've talked about it before.
Yeah,
you scale up too fast.
You scale up too fast, or the demand is too fast, right? So that demand where you're like, okay, so all of a sudden you got 3 months of crazy busyness. Well, there's a section of people that you're just turning down. Well, that's a person that might not even come back to you again. So and they might tell other people that you're too busy and you couldn't get in.
So nobody even comes to me.
Now they're bad mouthing you, kind of, in a sense. And then there is that you've got way too busy and you couldn't sustain that demand, that the quality of work went down.
Exactly. That's a big one.
That's a huge one,
especially with staging. Yeah. Like, I don't want to come in and just be like, okay, I have to finish this like in 3 hours because
And now
I have
there's-
another house. Yeah.
There's missing pieces. Like,
Yeah.
like that's
it's
an
just
empty
not a
space
well done
there.
job.
It's not put together. Everything's cute, but it's not put together.
No.
It doesn't feel full. It feels kind of partially empty.
Yeah. Like some things are missing. Yeah, exactly. I
And
think that's a huge one. It's like because the demand can be so high,
Yeah.
you can cut corners.
It's interesting. It's interesting that it's a weird place to be in. It's a weird place to be.
Yeah. We'll have to maybe in the next couple, maybe right before the new year, we'll have to talk about goals, what we have
Oh
set
yeah,
for,
resolutions.
yeah,
Interesting.
resolutions,
That
what
would be
we
kinda
want to
fun.
accomplish by next year.
I want to accomplish nirvana or achieve nirvana.
Well, I'll help you do that.
You've heard it here, folks.
You heard it from the source.
You heard it from the source. No, I'm excited. I'm excited for the new year. I've also seen you. You woke up early this morning
I know.
to work out.
Are you proud?
I was
feel
really
so
proud.
good today. So that was another thing is we can title this how to achieve success.
Well, no, we're gonna title this. I think fear scaling,
Yeah, something like that. But
something like that.
so we just bought a treadmill from Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
We've I've been always wanting a treadmill, but the fear was
No,
fear that we wouldn't use it.
We both run.
Yes,
So
I love
let's-
running outside.
Let's not say that I got you a treadmill just for you.
Just
You know what I mean?
because-
Like Irina
just
needed
for
a
fun,
treadmill because
yeah.
the baby.
Oh no!
Yeah,
No.
I don't want to.
No,
make sure
we
that
are
people
both
know.
runners.
Yeah.
We love running outside. That's like our first place. But when it gets cold, or on the other
Hot.
opposite, too hot outside, there's 2 seasons in Idaho where it's unbearable to run, and so we were talking about, we should get a treadmill. But I have a gym membership, but have not I kept it the whole time I was pregnant, and maybe it went twice.
Though you promised you'd get rid of it
Yeah.
before COVID.
Yeah,
And
but
you
then I
told me,
felt bad
it's
because I'm
frozen.
I should support the gym.
No, you
because
said
they're-
it's frozen.
Oh
Are you
yeah,
sure?
they did freeze it for a little bit,
Oh, did they? Mm,
but then they unfroze and I still didn't cancel it.
sure.
Yeah, which I did today.
You did?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Thank
Congratulations.
you so much.
Yeah. You're gymless.
Yes. But I have always wanted kind of a treadmill, but first of all, we didn't have the garage. We still don't have the garage space.
No.
We somehow weaseled it in.
Uh-huh.
But I think the fear was that we wouldn't use it. We would buy it and it would just collect dust in the garage.
I was
which-
never fearful of that.
You weren't?
Never fearful of that.
Well, you kind of told me. You were like,
Why?
are you going to use it, or are you just going to do the same thing you did at the
listen,
gym?
you wanted to. For me, I knew I would use it.
Okay.
Because the convenience aspect for me is before, for me to go for a run, you had to be home with the kids. But now
Exactly.
the baby could sleep. I got a monitor. I could run.
Yeah,
and
you
then-
just
and
stick
get
the
it out.
monitor right there. It's awesome.
And there's days that I want to go for a run, but it's way too cold and I don't
Yeah,
want to go. So,
yeah.
but when I started, because I started building out our little home gym or a garage gym
during COVID.
during
when it first-
COVID,
yeah.
and I got the workout mats and I got some, kettlebells
Yeah.
and
so you're another thing, for cardio.
exactly. And so my fear was that because I was like, hey, I found these dumbbells that were your comfort level, and I was like, do you want me to get them? And you're like, yeah, get them. And you never used them.
I did once.
Yeah. And I was like, well,
Well, I also during pregnancy, I don't want to lift weights.
well,
I
it's
don't
also
know.
been 5 months ago. So that's just, but you're a mother.
But I
you're a
can't
mother.
work out for the first 6 weeks.
Is
so
that what they said?
literally,
Oh, okay.
after
So it's been
pregnancy.
4 months. Okay.
3.5.
4.5. Okay. But so that was my fear. Is why
Yeah.
am I going to spend another thing, or we are going to spend money on this thing if you're not
Gonna use
if you're
it,
still going
yeah.
to go to the gym.
Yeah. I think some of it is I want to prove myself to you that I'm
Really?
going to use it every day.
Oh.
But also, I know that I either have to go before Kyle gets here and you guys start working, or after. And I definitely don't like running at 4 p.m.
Do you know what scene I just picture in my head? Because I was shooting content. You always think of scenes and
Yeah.
and I'm thinking could you imagine? I'm behind this table and I'm doing this thing. And Kyle's shooting me,
And I'm just
and
running.
and it pans to you, and you're like, duk, 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 duk. You're like, and I'm like,
What are you doing?
come on, are you?
Really?
Yeah, like one of those. Come on, really now?
Yeah. You're gonna run now? Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not quiet.
hilarious.
Yeah, and so I know that I either have to wake up earlier and run
Mm-hmm.
before he gets here and you guys start,
Yeah.
or I have to run in the late afternoon, evening. And I mean, the boys have jujitsu, gotta start dinner, and I don't want to run right before
Oh
that.
yeah, working out in the evening is the worst.
And it was the first time I went, but the weekends obviously are different. But weekdays, I loved it. I love that. I feel like I can have a system now of a schedule. So I run for an hour. I go take a shower, wake up the boys at 8. I go take a shower, get ready, and then come downstairs.
And then I hop on the treadmill.
And then you go at 8.
And I really show it how it's done. I
Yeah.
really put
You
the
say,
miles
oh,
in.
you did that.
Smoke
Okay.
is coming out of the bearings.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice. So then, like, I'm already ready by the time I take the boys to school, or you take them, and like ready to start the day. And I feel so good. I feel like I'm already productive.
Well, first of all, easy, because it's been one day that you
I
did
know.
this. You're talking about, here's a secret to my success.
Yeah.
Okay, so every morning,
Well, but I've
first
ran
of all,
3 days
wake
straight.
up and work out. That's the first thing
Yeah.
you do.
It was the first day I woke up early
Yes.
to run, but this is the third day I ran in a row.
Oh, 100%. I noticed that.
Since we got it on
Yeah,
Saturday.
it's going to be New Year, New You. How's that?
I know.
That's going to be
New Year, new Irina. But I want to keep it going.
cool. No, I think you will. I think
Yeah.
you're
And it's not like I'm waking up that early. 6:45 is not that early.
Yeah.
So
Papa's been awake for an hour. Since
I
then.
know.
That's cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited
Yeah.
for you.
It's
I
nice
think
to have that, like, a schedule, and like every day have this consistent rhythm.
I think for a lot of
it's good
people,
for people.
What's important to know that the importance of it is not necessarily always that, you're physically, achieved your goals and like that. I think
So
the
much of it's
importance
mental.
is mental.
Yes.
Exactly. The amount of
Probably like 80% is mental.
Exactly. I would agree with that the decision making, the stress,
Yes.
the anxiety, everything you go through, and then as soon as you work out, for some weird reason, problems don't seem that big
They
anymore.
don't. Yeah.
Like, there's been times I remember.
It's like you need those like endorphins or.
I remember pre-pregnancy, while still operating your business, you were like stressed out. You're like, I don't have enough furniture. I have this builder reached out to me. It's a great opportunity. I don't know what to do. And to me, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then you would go for a run or go, and then you come back. You go, okay, I feel good about it. I
This
think
is
I
what
have
I'm
a
gonna
plan.
do. Yeah.
And it's amazing what happens. Like there's some clarity that happens to it.
Yes. Especially, yes. It's like something. You get rid of all those like toxic thoughts.
Toxic negativity. I think things that hold you back.
Yes. Because you're doing a hard thing. Running is a hard thing. And so like doing that is already like conquering some of your demons. And so now you're like, okay, what's the next thing I can do? I can find more furniture. I can do something. Yeah.
Some of my most like inspirational to me decisions I've made, like whether or not like I'm going to pursue the merch line, because it costs a lot of money to get into merch, right? I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. Like especially with this new year, I got some videos that are planned that involve other people's homes that I go into, and kind of putting yourself out. Some of these biggest things I've ever done came from me running or working out and getting into that clear headspace when you go, no, I'm not gonna allow fear to kind of dictate me right now. I'm gonna reach for that moon, you know what I mean, and not to start. So
yeah, it's crazy how many analogies and like it's like running is such a good metaphor for just like life. You're like conquering the things you didn't think you could, or you're just challenging yourself to go the extra like mile. Literally.
I would disagree. I would think the most inspirational are the posters with a cat hanging on there. And
oh, I agree with that. That's first. Just hang in there. Yeah, the motivational posters. Just hang in there.
Hang in there.
Meow.
Well, that's cool, Mrs. M. That's I think I like this podcast. This is a good podcast.
This is good. Yeah.
We were going to talk about your
Holidays.
pregnancy and birth of the child of labor.
Oh, we were?
Yeah, we were going to talk.
I thought we were going to talk about holidays.
The bloody birth.
Oh, we can still talk about that. Maybe in the next one.
Yeah. Buckle up, kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Red isn't just a Christmas color.
This is called Red April.
It was June.
It was just Red June.
The Red June.
All right, folks.
Thanks for listening.
Rate, do the whole thing. Share with your friends. We'll see
do
you
all the
next time.
things.
Bye.
Bye.